Well, hello there, my name is PolishLynx, this is Cupid. Those mistakes. Okay, let's find out. Let's try to find the answer for the question, what is the secret that Catherine wants to tell us? Okay, of course. Julem and I, we haven't had intercourse. Okay, recently. No, I mean at all. Oh. Rosa cleared her throat. I see. After all these years. Well, after the first time, never again. Rosa blushed. Her head knitted together images of the two people she considered her friends. Rosa tried to push them away, but all she was able to do was pile the warped fantasies in gossamer and fuzz. She cleared her throat. Is that why you have separate rooms even when we moved here to the chateau? No, that was his idea. He's very peculiar in his sleep. I imagine he will be keeping the separate bedrooms even when we get married. I don't really mind. Well, your wedding is soon, isn't it? Perhaps you are just nervous. No, I don't think it's like that. Recently we'd get intimate, but I always thought when things got too sultry. Oh. He gets upset sometimes, but he says it's alright. Catherine looked down ruefully on her toes. He doesn't push me into it, I should be glad. But don't you think it's strange? What if I stay like this even after we get married? I don't understand why. Sometimes I get these doubts and I wonder why they are there. Isn't that unfair for him? I just feel like there is something wrong with me. There is nothing wrong with you. But it makes me really insecure. This lack of, what if he's getting it somewhere else? Oh! It drives me crazy. And believe me, I want to. I just can't for some reason. I get this horrible feeling I can't explain. I don't understand her. Rosa examined Catherine's face and came to a conclusion. It took me a while to understand sex. The sudden no-nonsense comment surprised Catherine. Rosa went on. I was the same as you. I had always had an adverse feeling for it. Like it's dirty and that I should be ashamed for enjoying it. I had always thought love would make sex clean. But that's not how it works. They are two separate things. So just because you don't like sex, it doesn't mean you don't love him, Kath. Catherine looked up at her. Why do you even care so much to hurt him? What do you think love is? The warm feeling returned to Catherine's heart. How do you do that? Huh? You always know the right thing to say. Always! Rosa blushed at this, suddenly aware that they were still in a loose tangle of embers. I've read a lot of smart books lately. She tried to diffuse the situation with a laugh, but Catherine didn't drop her look. Candlelight played pretty shadows on her skin. Where this is going? It illuminated the glint in her eyes. Where this is going? The moist on her lips. Where this is going? Rosa felt the warmth of the alcohol rise up to her face. Her heartbeat increased steadily. Anyway, maybe you will feel better about it when you are married. You are probably just nervous about the whole thing. She made attempts to curl away from Catherine's arms. Slowly, subtly ran away. Dispersed the proximity, but she couldn't run away from her stare. Catherine's hand caressed Rosa's face. Is it really going where I think it's going? She touched her scars daintily, tracing them with her fingers. You are really pretty, Rosa. Especially when you smile. Thank you, I think. Well, that's actually true. She is pretty. You don't believe me? I don't think I am. I look in the mirror and I see a freak. Rosa, that's not true. It is fine. I like being a freak. I wanted to be ugly. And you are not. I used to paint my breasts and hide in the shabbiest clothes I could find. What? Rosa touched her eye. This was penance, she remembered herself saying, for being a sinner and a freak, for attracting attention and spite, for dressing nicely, for letting her hair grow long. But really, I did this to myself, to hide. To hide? Rosa's mouth quivered. I thought people don't touch ugly things. But the truth is, they do. So would I rather be invisible? Catherine wrapped her arms around Rosa's neck. She heard Catherine sniff and weep tears behind her embrace. She pushed Rosa's hair away and kissed her defective eye. You're not a freak, and you are not ugly. I love every part of you. They are all beautiful. Rosa forgot how close they were now, forgot Catherine's hands on her own. Here was somebody who accepted her, with all her faults and ugliness. You always make me feel I am worth something. Because you are. You are beautiful, Rosa, inside and out. Rosa saw her face reflected in Catherine's eyes. In them she did indeed look beautiful. A lump formed in Rosa's throat. Catherine's face hovered above her cheek. She planted a little seed of a kiss on it, just barely away from her lips. Rosa kissed her nose in return. It made Catherine giggle. At first the kisses were sweet, innocent. The kind of punch-drunk kisses that sent them both into bouts of giggling. But Catherine's hand caressed her neck. The kisses lingered. Lips melted. Hands explored. And what's the notification here? Okay, not important very much. And Rosa sucked on Catherine's tongue inside her mouth. So it was going where I thought it was going. Wine. Candle wax. Spit. That was what it tasted like. Rosa's head began to swoon. Catherine's hand squeezed her right breast. Tripe. Grapes. Plush. Rosa began to taste more of her. Longing. Regrets. Tears. A sensational flavor she had never tasted before hovered at the edge of her tongue. Suddenly she was hungry for it. Take it all. Rosa savored the taste. She breathed it deeply. All mine. Child, I want it. Her heart. I want her heart. Her love is sweet. Listen to my voice. Mother? But I'm so hungry. So hungry. Stop! Rosa flung her eyes open. A sinking feeling of menace overcame her. No! Rosa pulled away. She pushed Catherine away from her face. Catherine's eyes snapped open, startled by Rosa's outburst. Why did you stop? Greedy, selfish bitch! She blinked for a few seconds. A look of horror crept on her face. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... No, Cat... Rosa couldn't stand the hurt in her eyes. She was probably blaming herself. Rosa wanted to shout how wrong she was, but the lump in her throat became a rapacious mouth. A tumor had grown inside of her, a parasite. She could feel it pulse and slither inside her neck. She couldn't speak at all. Catherine wobbled off the bed. She wiped her mouth and cheeks, which were covered with a thin layer of drool. I'm so sorry, Rosa. I'm going to leave now. Cough. Good night. Rosa should have followed her. But when she tried to stand, the floor twirled. She choked At her floor left in her throat. At the floor. Yeah, right. She choked at the flavor left in her throat. Sick and cloying, sticky sweet like honey. The taste both repulsed and enticed her. Thick spit leaked out of her mouth. She felt the urge to vomit. This is nothing, mother. Just a bad after effect of alcohol. No, please, don't call me that. It was an accident. Everything is fine. She would talk to Catherine tomorrow, assure her that this was not her fault. Everything was fine. There was an urgent knock at Julien's door. The clock read 2:15 in the morning. He closed his journal and stood up from his desk. Yeah, coming. He opened his door. Catherine stood in front of him, her cheeks stained with hastily wiped tears. Kath? Julien, can we talk? Oh, isn't it quite late? Please, it's urgent. Alright. Julien led her inside. Lady, you smell like my vintage bottle of Bourgogne. Did you get so drunk you actually thought of apologizing first? I didn't think I'd see that day. Sherry, what's wrong? Catherine's tongue went to her mouth without thinking. How could she even begin to tell Julien what she had done? Honey, I was really upset with today. So despite any good sense, I went and got myself drunk. This time I dragged Rosa along with me. Things have a tendency to go out of hand when alcohol is involved, as you know. Long story short, I came onto Rosa. You know Rosa, the girl who is almost like my sister. Yeah, I might have forced myself on her. And I did that right after she told me she has been abused before. She felt Julien's hand take her thumb away from her mouth. Kath. She looked at her fingers in horror. Her habit had surfaced again. She thought she had gotten rid of this as she grew up, replacing the nail biting with a meticulous, almost obsessive care of her for her fingers. My fingers are my livelihood. I must take care of them. Now the nails were chewed down to jagged stumps, and a couple of them had tiny blistering cuts. Kath, can you talk? Catherine's eyes snapped back to Julien, as if he had just materialized in the room beside her. So yeah, like I was saying, darling, which is the worst thing, what do you think? This implied incest, my abuse of my best friend, or my infidelity to you? Okay, it wasn't incest, but yeah, abuse of friend, yes. Or if that doesn't cut it, may I divulge to you one last point? I felt something worrying when I kissed her. Excitement. If she hadn't stopped me, something else would have. It felt so real. It didn't feel like a mistake. It felt like it had always been there, buried deeply. So much so that it felt like cheating. It was like a craving. I wanted it. It was something I haven't felt with you. Why is this happening? I don't know. I don't even know who I am anymore. Kath, you are scaring me. Tell me what's wrong. Would you still want to marry me? Would you still love me if you knew? I wouldn't. I can't even look at myself in the mirror. But I think I know who I am now. I am a selfish, depraved bitch. I have always been the controlling, jealous lover to you. And just one night of drunken frenzy, I went and took advantage of the two people I care for the most. Not enough wine to justify this. I want to call off the engagement. At first, Catherine saw that Julien treated it as a joke, but the panic in his eyes set in. What? I said I'm calling off the engagement. Well, I refuse. You don't have a choice. I'm leaving tomorrow. No. Not until you tell me what's wrong. Julien's eyes didn't flinch. These were the looks he gave her that melted her heart. They were so sure and steadfast in their care. They were just fighting this morning, a fight she had started as usual. Yet there was no doubt in his eyes at all. If she were to see that certainty fade away from his eyes, she knew it would break her. Is it about the fight earlier? Because, Kat, I swear to you, I haven't done any of the... No, stop! Hearing him reinstate his devotion to her just made it more painful. Tears pooled in her eyes and fell in huge, ugly globes. She had been doing so well too. She had thought she could hold it in until she left. She wiped the tears as best she could, but more kept pouring out. It isn't about it. Then what is it? What do you want me to do? Whatever it is, I shall do it. This was so hard. Why did this have to be so hard? Why did she even go here? Because she wanted to see his face. She wondered what it would be like for a cheater to go back to the arms of her lover. Would it change somehow? Did she still love him? How could she even tell? All her emotions were wrapped in a thick layer of guilt. It was hard to distinguish every painful thought. She'd started to sob now. Yes, indeed. Ugly, unflattering snorts came out of her nose. I had felt like comforting to hold on to guilt. Its existence made the hatred towards herself pitiless. Kath, please tell me what's bothering you. I don't deserve you. I'm a horrible person. A horrible person, okay. You ought to find someone else. Someone else? To marry, okay. Catherine let the words stumble out of her mouth, slightly relieved to be rid of them. She looked tearfully up at Julien to gauge his reaction, but he just stared back at her blankly. Why wouldn't he say anything? Catherine sobbed, fearing the worst. Julien cleared his throat and spoke hesitantly. Could you, repeat that? He cupped his hand to his ear and angled it closer to her face. He apparently hadn't caught any of her heart-filled words. Catherine snarled angrily at him. You idiot! I'm having a breakdown here. But I didn't understand what you said. I said you ought to find someone else because I'm a horrible person. Julien pulled her to him. Oh, that's it. Whatever made you think that I will accept that reason? Catherine's tears soaked his shirt. You don't know what I've done. Then tell me. You will hate me, I guarantee it. Did you punch a baby? No. The inside joke made her laugh, out of the blue. She buried her face in his chest in a half-sob, half-laugh. Suddenly her doubts were cleared. Suddenly she didn't want to marry anyone else. Catherine's arms tightened around Julien's waist. I've been taking you for granted, haven't I? I've been arrogant, expecting you always adjust to me as my whims. A new fervor sprang out of her love for him. I don't deserve you right now, but I'll work on that if you give me another chance. First she would tell him what she had done. Then it would be up to him if he still wanted her. He deserved the decision. What I did? But Julien stopped her with a kiss on her forehead. Tomorrow, after a hearty breakfast and a good night's rest, I will listen to what you have to say, for I'm quite sure my answer will be the same. Catherine's face melted into a smile and he beamed at her. My star finally smiles. Catherine wiped her eyes. I love you so much. She sighed with content, part of her angst she put to rest. I do. I really do. She whispered that last one under her breath, as if trying to console herself. Julien. Yes, dear. Will you make love to me? Let's find out in the next episode. Sorry, Catherine, you have to wait for this as well. So, see you then. Bye.